welcome back to Fall Through. Happy Thursday edition for you. It was the 14th of October, and that t-shirt on your shoulder, Thomas Rhett, great song, Unforgettable. Welcome to Fall Through. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at Fall Through Show, Twitter at FT Through Show, TikTok at Fall Through Show, Facebook, which is for what?
Your parents.
At Fall Through, and you can email us at followthrough.podcast at gmail.com. Make sure you're following Blake at the Blake Man Cam at BlakeMCO2. You can follow Clay at Clay2Mac, Eli at Eli McCoy61, and myself personally at Daxon Crow. Today we got top 5 college football uniforms, a little bit of an MLB playoff update, NFL Week 6 preview, this magic moment, and the road to 70. Welcome. Now you can see us if you're watching on the video version. If you're listening on podcast, you can still hear us. Make sure you listen to us on the Eagle Radio Group app. It's the preferred way to listen, but you can listen to us anywhere. We're going to get going. We're going to get rolling. As Clay likes to say, we're going to get it started hot. Clay, how are you doing today first?
Hey, man, I'm making it. Happy to be here. How y'all boys doing?
Doing well, Clay. Blake?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Aren't you glad to be done with biology?
You have no idea. I am mentally exhausted.
How's the weight on your shoulders? Does it feel lifted?
Oh, it feels like 500 pounds been lifting right off that back. But I got a math test Friday, so that feeling's not going to last for very long.
Well,
actually,
good.
When I leave here, it'll probably be back.
So would you say on a scale of decent to good, are you feeling decent as of Blake of last week, or good?
Are you talking about my test?
No, about yourself.
Or just in general? I'm good, man. I'm alive. That's always good. So
Blake, do you hear the optimism coming from Clay there?
I do. And, today I'm not feeling decent, I guess. I'm feeling very pretty good.
Very pretty good. Okay. Well, I'm going to play the music one more time. We have top 5 today, which is the first time it's returned in about 2 weeks, I would say.
That's right.
So, top 5 college football uniforms. And when I sent out the notes, they were a little confused. When I say these uniforms, we're not going to do them as in like a general uniform. Like, you love all of Auburn's uniforms, Eli, or all of these. Like a game uniform that you could wear. Pick it out, like an individual uniform, I guess would be the way for it. So, Clay, let's go ahead and start us off. If you have an honorable mention, go ahead and hit that. If you don't, just go for it.
I don't have an honorable mention. I'm going to get right into it. Number 5, Eli knows this was going to be on here. I got my Purdue Moon uniforms. They're like space-themed, moon-themed. I don't really know how to describe them. They're like all white. You'll just have to look at the picture. They're like all white with silver and gold. That's good stuff right there, let me tell you. I think they only wore them like one time, which is a shame, but I bet that one. I don't know if they won the game that one time, but if they didn't, that's a crying shame because I don't know how you could lose in wearing something like this, but that's my number 5.
Blake.
I do have an honorable mention, and it is the Oklahoma Sooners. I hate their football team, but these jerseys are sweet.
Thank you.
It's the white helmets with the red stripe.
Yes, sir.
And it's red jersey. They sometimes wear the white jerseys with it, but I think the red looks so much better. But my number 5 is Ohio State's blackout. The black helmet, black jersey, black pants. It's just very simple, but it's very clean jersey. And I love it when they wear it. They don't wear it a whole lot, but it looks really good.
Would you use the word immaculate?
I would. Immaculate.
Eli. Eli probably has 27 honorable mentions.
This will be my first top 10, as
my God.
as Dax and Clay have done before. Honorable mentions in no particular order. Ohio State dark gray. Blake, is that the one you're talking about?
You're talking about the gunmetal.
You're talking
Yes,
about the ones where they have the camo.
I'm talking about all black.
Okay.
Yeah. The ones that have like the camo inside the uniform.
And they wore
gunmetal
against
is
Michigan one year.
The gunmetal's tough. The Oregon Rose Bowl uniforms with the chrome helmet, where you can see the sun setting off the helmet. John Michael will be a fan of that. The Iowa State All Blacks, I think they deserve an honorable mention. And I've got Iowa, the home uniforms. I love the big block letters. I love the gold and black combo. And my 5th honorable mention is South Carolina. They have these throwback black uniforms where the numbers look like an old jersey. You'll have to just look at that picture. And then at my number 5, I've got the Auburn All Whites. Obviously, that's a homer pick, but when we put all that white on, it's just tough. And you'll see a reoccurring thing in my list with the white, so I'm going with the Auburn All White at 5.
I love that jersey. That is actually one of my honorable mentions for myself is the Auburn just plain all white. And actually, when I say all white, this year I'm going to add the brand new one where we wear the all white face mask. We wore it at Penn State. Now, we did take an L, but I really enjoy that uniform. Another honorable mention for me would also be the Ohio State gray uniforms. And specifically, I really love their gray uniform. That's the regular plain helmet, and it's the red jerseys with the numbers that are blackish gray on top. Again, they wore it against Michigan a few years back. Really enjoy that uniform. But I'm going to get going. South Carolina's throwback. I've been high on this one. The garnet helmet, the black jersey, white pants. It looks so clean. I love how inside the numbers they make it look like the throwback 90s uniforms. I love that jersey. I think it's one of the best looks in all of football. And so you'll see that I love the classic style looking uniform in my list. Clay Mack, what's your number 4?
There were way too many of these to choose from, so I just had to say Oregon in general. Now, okay, they flopped heavily. Was it maybe a year or two ago when the numbers were this big? But just before that, dude, the 2010s through like 2016, 2017, it was like a new one every week. I mean, they were bringing out pink uniforms, everything. Just absolutely. And that color scheme, you can do whatever you want with it. You can flip-flop it however you want. And their new. If I had to pick one, a specific one, their new Dark Knight ones are they're sweet. So, number 4 could be Dark Knight Oregon uniforms or just Oregon uniforms in general because there's 50,000 of them.
What's underrated is when they throw that little streak of orange in there for the duck mouth. That is tough because you can do anything with that.
I also love the ones where they wear the all orange on the bottom and it makes it look like duck feet.
Yeah.
Those are so clean too. That bright green, I like it.
I love that a lot. My number 4 is still going with the black route. I'm going Iowa State's blackout.
Those are clean.
It's just really simple, but it's very clean. And they've been wearing them pretty good bit, honestly, but I love them every time they wear them.
My number 4 is the Oklahoma State. It's a throwback uniform. They wear the OSU on their helmet. They have a ton of combinations, too, and very underrated. But it's a white helmet, orange jersey with just straight-up Oklahoma State in block letters, and then the block numbers. It's very classic. It's white, orange, white, and I've got that as my 4. You got to see the pictures to, pictures don't really, they'll do it justice. My description is not going to, but it is a sharp look for them.
So my new one, they actually are going to wear it this weekend, I'm pretty positive, is the Citronaut, the brand new UCF space uniform. The 2021. I love every space uniform they do, but this is my new favorite. It honors the Discovery aerospace plane. The helmet is all white with like chrome face mask and whatnot. It's super clean. It's got I'm pretty sure it's got all the names who have ever rode on a Discovery airspace uniform. It's just clean. It's got the Discovery on the side of it, got the patch. I love it. I love their space stuff and what they're doing at UCF with all the space themed stuff. So that's going to be my jersey. UCF Space 21. What's your 3?
I'm like this, especially with baseball uniforms and football uniforms too. I love a white hat or helmet and then a black jersey and then follow it up with another, like it goes white, black, white. Yeah. South Carolina's white, black, white is, I think, the cleanest white, black, white combination in college football. I've always been a sucker for the white, black, white. I've said that like 20 times. I've said white, black, white like 20 times since then.
Can you do it again?
White, black, white. But I just think it's clean. I love South Carolina's uniforms. Some people don't. I think that's Under Armour's by far best uniform.
Yeah, I agree.
Then probably Maryland for me.
Yeah. So I'm going to go South Carolina at number 3. But white, black, white.
My number 3 is Virginia's alternate orange uniforms.
Ooh.
The orange in there just looks so good, and then it matches with the helmet because it's got their logo on the right,
on one side,
the numbers on the left, and then the stripes down the middle of the helmet. Looks just fantastic. I love that jersey a lot.
That is tough. For my number 3, I've got the throwback Florida uniforms. They wore them against Auburn, and it's a white, blue, white. I just had a white, orange, white. I really just love that when you have a white helmet and then you go to a color and then you go back to the white on the pants. It's got the throwback F with the circle around it on top, and it's just clean. And you'll notice some throwbacks on here, but sometimes that's the best ones. Simple.
Well, I guess I'm going to keep the trend going with a white, purple, white. I love LSU's white helmet that has LSU across the top. Then the one that I think of the most is the one that Joe Burrow wore his year. Then the purple jersey with the clean, just the purple looks good. I don't know why they don't wear it more often. And then on the pants, they're white as well, but they have the big L instead of nothing on them. They have the big L on them. I think it looks really clean. Usually have the white tiger. I just love, like y'all said, the white color white. I'm not going to say my color so I can keep a little bit of a difference. But throwback wise, I think they look super clean. And I love LSU when they just flip it around and wear the purple jersey as well. It was really hard not putting their actual uniform on my list.
You know, there's a team out there that also is white, purple, gold.
Roar Lions.
Go UNA. Their uniforms are kind of fun.
They are kind of fun.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's five out there.
I wasn't going to say it. My number 2. Now, this color combination is something initially you would think would be the ugliest thing in the world. And just looking at it, like if you were just looking at the two colors on anything else, it probably would be. But TCU's little purple, gray, red uniform, purple and red are not, they don't really go together, but they made it, somehow it works. And it looks, Blake, I'm going to say it, immaculate. You're just going to look at the picture. I really don't know how to describe it. It's mainly a grayish black uniform with purple and then just red just threw at it, like the face mask is red.
I'm looking at it currently. It's
like the collar's red.
It's like kind of got like a red outline.
Yeah, they got like red. The numbers are red. So it's just a ton of colors. Like looking at it at first, it'll kind of be like, whoa, okay.
It shouldn't make sense.
That's a lot, but then when you like that's pretty sweet. And then watching them play in it, immaculate. That's my number 2.
It almost looks like it should be called like the Devil Frog uniform.
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know the exact name. I looked it up, but no bueno. So
yeah,
Spit Blood. That's the name of it. The Spit Blood uniform.
I like that kind of. My number 2 is the 1990s North Carolina throwbacks.
Yeah, that's clean.
Those are clean.
I don't think they've worn it yet. They unveiled them last year.
Yeah,
but I still don't think they've worn them. It's blocky numbers. On the sleeves, it's got white and black stripes. It's just a really clean jersey. I love that blue that they wear. It looks really good.
There's
a lot you can do with a dark blue and a light blue.
Yeah.
And you got the whites to throw in there.
That's why we have it here at Fall Through.
Yes, it's a great scheme.
It's a great color
scheme. My number 2 is the Penn State all white. It's just so sharp. I love the classic. They always have that white helmet, and then you take away the blue jersey and just go all white, and it's awesome. I wish they'd wear them in their whiteout. That would make sense, but they don't. But it's just sharp, and it's a classic college football uniform.
Talk about another immaculate uniform I got here, my number 2. The SMU Dallas uniform.
I like that.
It's the big D with the pony running through the top, and it's got the lined out D. Like it's not a block D. It's like the multiple lines rolling through it. If that makes sense. All right, look, y'all need to grow up.
Clay looked at me for that.
It's this one right here with the D looking like that.
Yeah.
It's super clean, and then in the jersey's blue. There goes my iPad, and it's got Dallas across it. It's just a throwback. It's very solid. I love their color scheme. I love the SMU ponies in general. I love when they're 30 for 30, the rise and fall of the Pony Express. And so when they kind of started coming back with these uniforms, I feel like SMU is one of the most overlooked college football uniforms in general. It's so clean.
The red face mask is clean.
Yes, it's very clean. So that's my number 2.
my number 1. Some will say it's boring. I don't care. All white Penn State. It's just when I think of college football, that's what I think of. All those uniforms. You think about USC, Alabama, Penn State. Those that are just really basic, but they just scream the history of college football. But I think out of all the classics, that one is probably the cleanest, and there's nothing special about it. They don't even have a last name on their jersey.
Nope.
It's just football. That's all it is, and I mean, it's definitely my favorite by far in college football. So that's my number 1.
My number 1, I'm going back throwbacks again. It's Florida Gators throwbacks. They wore them against Auburn.
Yep, that was my 3.
And I love the helmet with the circle and then the F in the middle of it. It's just, it looks really good. I like it better than their actual uniforms.
It is so clean.
They're orange and blue and orange that they wear. No.
They're all white helmet. They're all white helmet they have.
Like white, black, white, all that, but orange, blue, orange. No. white, blue, white. That uniform
I
they
can
do.
see it on
I
your
like
The
that.
white, blue,
Blake.
white looks clean, and I
That's
love it
so
when they do
tough.
the
Let me
American
see it.
helmet too.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty.
that's
The
fine.
stripe across.
Yeah.
I love those.
I love their
so
little
tough.
script gator helmet they have.
Yeah, I
too.
like
that
those
one's
too.
very clean.
I like
as
the
well.
alligator print.
Okay.
Heck.
Okay, well,
Oh my
that's where you lose,
God.
man.
Hey,
No,
yes,
sir.
sir.
My number one, Blake, your 3 was my 1, and my 3 was your 1. I'm going with the Virginia white, orange, white combo. It's so tough. I am a sucker for numbers on the helmet. I just think that's awesome. And Virginia has managed to do both. They have a sharp logo with a V and some swords underneath it. And then on the other side, they've got the 1 or their number. And then you've got the orange jersey followed up with some white pants. And then the numbers have no secondary color. It's just white. It's a colored jersey with the white numbers. And I just think it's so clean. I've been on this for over a year now. Everyone knows that this is my favorite. Love to see them wear it. And it's just sharp. It really just gets me. So it does.
It just gets you
I
different.
started freaking crying over there.
It does. It is so sharp.
You're gonna be okay to continue.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, it was a real battle because they have a couple combinations of this uniform that I really enjoy. I'm gonna give you the one that I thought between was the Ole Miss powder blue, not the jersey. It's the powder blue helmet, the red jersey, and the gray pants. The one that says Ole Miss on the side. I love that one. But over it is their throwback they wore. It's the powder blue helmet, no Ole Miss on the side of the helmet, just the powder blue helmet, red stripe, red jersey, white pants. I think it's one of the cleanest looks in college football. I love the Ole Miss powder blue, or as Clay refers to it as the sissy blue. I love it. I think it is one of the cleanest looks in college football, one of the cleanest colorways that you can have. And so therefore, my favorite of those uniforms is going to be the Ole Miss powder blue. I hope y'all like our uniforms. You'll have the chance to vote on them on our Instagram stories, so make sure to take a look at that.
I probably like Ole Miss's uniforms if a different team wore them. I just can't get over the fact that it's Ole Miss's uniform, so I refuse to like them.
Well, let's talk some MLB playoffs. The Red Sox and the Astros have both advanced to the ALCS. The Dodgers forced a Game 5 against the Giants. Woo. And the Braves have advanced to the National League Championship Series.
I'm a firm believer that playing in a wild card game, if you can win it, benefits you tremendously.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
You get a game up on everybody else, and a lot of those top teams will rest their guys, especially the ones that have like already clinched. They'll start resting those guys, so those guys can go like a week, even up to 2 weeks without playing a game. I think that getting that one game edge, even it's just one game. That doesn't seem like a lot, but the atmosphere and I mean that game holds a lot more than game 1 of the next series, because if you lose, you're out.
Yep.
The game 1 of the next series, you lose. Okay, we got this is a 5-game series. We'll be all right.
Well, look at the Red Sox.
Exactly, and the Dodgers are hanging in there. They can clinch tonight. So,
No, they play Thursday.
oh, they don't play tonight. Well, that I just feel like it's kind of like we kind of talked about it in the NBA with the whole play-in thing. If you lose, of course, it sucks. But if you win, you're able to get a game ahead, and you've played in that atmosphere before. And that's something that the other teams can't say they have. So I think that helps them a little bit.
Okay, and you know how we got to talking about the NBA playoffs and the MLB playoffs and how we feel like the NBA is long and drawn out? Well, I was sitting there thinking about it today. Really, in theory, they have the same playoff format, and it feels like the MLB playoffs are flying by.
Well, it's
And I love it a lot more because it feels like you have to watch every night because there is something that's going to happen.
Yeah,
if that makes
I agree
sense
with
to
you
me.
on that.
there's no need for the NBA playoffs to all be best of 7.
Yeah.
All rounds to be
That's
best
it, and
of
that's what I love about the MLB. They have a best of 5 series, then they go to best of 7s, and it
Yeah.
makes it way more interesting, and you care a lot more. If that
Hey,
makes sense.
think about it. After that game tomorrow, we're already going to be in the championship series of the
Exactly.
playoffs, and it started last week.
Yes.
So it does go by a lot faster, and I think that keeps people a lot more interested. But talking about more of the games, the Braves, I mean, they're around here. They are this team that everybody talks about. They advanced to the NLCS again. You know that they are hoping and praying that they do not have to
choke
meet
it
the
again.
Dodgers.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, and the Giants aren't a pushover either. But they would, if I was a Braves fan, I would definitely rather play the Giants over the Dodgers. But you got to, I mean, that's impressive with everything they've been dealt, all the injuries.
Yep.
Losing Ozuna, and they were still able to manage to make it to the National
Yes.
League Championship Series. That says a lot about that team. And if you're a Braves fan, even if you don't advance, you have to be feeling pretty good going into next year because you're getting a lot of those guys back. And heck, you made it to the NLCS without them. So,
dude,
that's impressive.
How have they not re-signed Freddie Freeman to a long-term deal?
That man deserves a life contract.
Dude,
after
I
that home run he hit
swear.
yesterday. That man is like he's the face of that. He's kind of like Chipper Jones was almost. He's
Yes.
getting to that point.
Yeah.
He's just the face of the franchise.
Well,
and Acuna's great. Ozzy's great. Swanson's great. But I don't know. Freddie's been there through it all, and it just seems like he's if they sign him to a long-term extension, he already is a legend, but that'll just secure his
He's the
case
heart
even
of the
more.
team.
He needs
For
to be
sure.
in the red and blue, fighting for the Braves the rest of his career. That just needs to be something that happens. I thought that in that game yesterday, where it felt like they would give up 2 runs and then get 2 runs back, and they shouldn't have won that game yesterday. They fought and they clawed and they got the win. And that's a team that you don't want to play in October, because if a team who finds a win, it's kind of like the White Sox. They ran into one of the best hitting teams in baseball. I'm a firm believer. I think the ALCS champion is going to be the one who wins the World Series. I think the Astros and the Red Sox are 2 of the hottest teams and best teams in baseball. But man, the Braves, if you feel good if you play the Giants, but if you play the Dodgers, I mean, that pitching rotation is ridiculous.
I
And they've
feel-
got 2 Cy Young winners just sitting on the bench.
Baseball's a crazy game, but to me, they were 2 of the best the whole season. And I know the Dodgers got the wild card game, but it's because of their division was so stacked. I think they were at one point they were 17 games ahead of the first team out of the wild card. That just shows you how good they were, and they weren't able to get a first round bye because they didn't win their division. But I feel like the winner tomorrow night between that game, that's gonna be whoever wins that, man. That's a tough out, especially if it's the Dodgers. I think the Giants are a lot more beatable than the Dodgers, but I don't know. The Dodgers have just been here year in and year out. They're built for this, man. If they win tomorrow night, then good luck to everybody else, because
Yeah.
that is,
I agree.
it's just.
Well, that pitching is ridiculous.
And then-
Clayton Kershaw probably not even going to play in the playoffs, and
Yep.
they're still handling people left and right.
Mookie Betts is an absolute star. Dude is arguably the best player in baseball right now. He's so consistent. He's always good. He's not really ever hurt, really. And he hit a huge bomb last night that stuck out, hit one opposite field. So, that team is loaded. And they're missing people.
Yes.
And they're still this good. So,
Yes. Well, now that Trevor Bauer can come back and play, that's big. And people act like it. I think you said it. Trey Turner, everyone acts like he's nothing.
yep. And they're
And
missing,
he's been one of their best consistent
they're
players.
missing Max Muncy. So,
Yeah.
that's one of their better hitters. He's not even in the lineup.
Yeah.
And they just plug in new guys and roll right along. So
I agree.
But if you're the Giants, man, you have got to win this game, because I don't see your team being back here next year.
Yeah. Boys, I have a question for you. And I thought about this yesterday. I was just sitting there doing my day, and I got to thinking, I think yesterday was the first time I realized that I had lived through a pandemic. And I know that COVID is still going on, and I respect that. But, really sitting there thinking about, holy crap, my life has completely changed. So my question to you is, when did you realize you lived through a pandemic? Any takers?
Honestly, when you brought it up to me was the first time I'd really thought about it, because we just let it go, and then I did start thinking about it, and it's like we've all changed, but we just went with what we had to do. And then you look back at some stuff we did, and I remember my dad telling me this at the time. He said, we'll look back on this one day and think how crazy all this was.
Yeah.
But it really was crazy. We just quit doing everything we've done our whole life, just put on pause. And I was scrolling back through some videos, and I was like, day 42 of quarantine. And it's like, what? We all actually did that. So that's the craziest thing to me. But I've just gone with what you had to do. Everybody has. You've done what you had to do. So I didn't really think about it until you asked me. But it is crazy.
I'll always think about going and hanging out with my friends, and then every time I leave, my parents be like, Clay, you have to be 6 feet apart from them. And we would legitimately stay away from each other. At first, I think all of us were generally actually scared. And then as time progressed, it was kind of okay, we're young, whatever. But when it first hit, dude, and the whole city or the whole country shut down, I think everybody was like, oh no, I'm not getting near anybody, or I'm gonna get COVID. But that's probably when it hit me. It's just looking back and saying man, we we were legit terrified. There for
Wednesday,
a good
March
while.
11th was the day the NBA got all
That was the last core.
It went down that night. And I remember thinking when I was watching them shut the NBA down, I was like, I really don't want to go to school tomorrow. Like, you felt that fear, and you just thought, we do need to shut it down. And that was the right thing to do at the time.
Yeah.
Well, I remember I was running. I went running that night. It was after church or whatever, and I called you. I was sitting down after I ran. I was like, dude, did you see what happened in the NBA? It's like they shut it down. They're not doing anything anymore. And I was like, holy crap. I remember, I don't know. Blake?
For me, I think it was when the state raised the mask mandate. Like, just seeing everybody out there without the mask, it kind of just hit me like, wow, these people have just, I don't know, been in
used
their
to not wear
houses
those.
and everything.
Yeah.
Do what?
We used to not wear those.
Yeah.
Well, that's the crazy thing. For me, I'm thinking about, and I always have been thinking about this when we go to the movies now, when are we going to start seeing movies have people wearing masks in it?
I know. See, whenever I remember, it may have been Christmas, I saw a movie, and it just hit me like, why aren't these people wearing masks in this movie?
Yeah.
Because it was filmed during the pandemic, and I was just like, everybody's got to wear a mask, and you're not wearing a mask in the movie? It's just weird.
Yeah, it's just a crazy thought to think about how world are changed. I just thought about it yesterday when I was. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was peeing, and I just sat there and I went, holy crap! The world we lived in is no longer the world we live in anymore. It's insane.
That's completely changed.
What?
It's completely changed.
Oh yeah, it's completely changed.
different.
Completely changed. Well, you know what else isn't changing? Where you can listen to us. Make sure you listen to us on the Eagle Radio Group app, available on iOS and Android. It offers all of your favorite Eagle Radio network stations, including 95 and 96.3 The B and 102.9 The Eagle, plus tons of extra channels programmed by our crew and local podcasts from the people you trust, like us here at Follow Through. The Eagle Radio Group app on the Apple App Store and Google Play. Download it today. That is our preferred way that you listen to us, but you can also listen to us on Apple, Spotify. You can watch us on YouTube. Eagle Radio Group app. NFL Week 6. Thursday night football, we have Buccaneers versus the Eagles. Sunday night, we have Seahawks versus Steelers, which has become a lot more interesting game now. And you have Monday night football, Bills versus the Titans in Nashville. Clayback, what is your biggest key for Buccaneers versus Eagles?
Well, with my Colts sucking this year, I have watched, and I'm a huge Jalen Hurts fan, so I've watched the majority of the games the Eagles have played. And last week, they were able to escape with a win, even though the offense played the worst half of football I've ever seen in my life. And then the defense kept them in it. My key for this game I think the Eagles are going to be able to score against this defense, especially with that injured secondary. They're kind of weak right now. It's just, can the Eagles defense get stops and get Jalen Hurts the ball and give them, if they get in a shootout, then the Buccaneers are going to win. But if the Eagles can just get a few stops, I think that gives the Eagles a chance. That's what happened against the Chiefs. I don't know if y'all remember, but the offense dropped like 30-something, and the defense just could not stop the Chiefs' offense. So my key would be, you don't have to shut them out, but just force a few turnovers, force a few punts, and give your offense a chance. Because I do think the Eagles will score. I just don't know if they're going to be able to score as much as the Bucs. So,
my biggest takeaway from key, my bad, is going to be time of possession. The Eagles have to control the time of possession, because if you don't, that defense is going to be on the field for 4 minutes of drive against the Buccaneers, and you're going to get tired, and then you're going to go down 21-0 probably, because that defense is going to be so tired. The offense has got to just have a good drive, a long one, just get down there and score mostly every time. You can score. You cannot score around 3 or 2 drives, but you got to score against this offense.
Mine was actually the same as Blake. I totally agree. This is my philosophy on really playing any good football team.
Oh, God.
Just your best defense is your offense. Stay off the field, keep your defense fresh, because when they're out there, it takes all 11, it takes everything they've got to stop a team like this. So when you have an high-powered offense, the best thing to do is keep your offense out there, because they can't score if they're on the sideline. So have some good lengthy drives and keep your defense fresh. I agree, Blake.
Well, I hate to be this guy, but that's my take as well here. My biggest key is you got to control. I think that if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, you need to have 10 to 11 play drops every time. You need to go out there. You need to run the ball. dominate the run game, make sure to run the clock. Eli, what button are we clicking if you're the Eagles here?
Chew the freaking. I actually don't chew clock on that.
I wasn't saying that, but
Yeah,
I was
just
just
chew it,
I was just
baby.
getting you to say it for me.
Chew
You
it.
need to chew the clock here. You need to make sure that when you pass, it needs to be short. It needs to be 4 or 5 yard gains at a time, and just really run this. Keep Tom Brady off the field. The Buccaneers' best weapon is who? It's Tom Brady. Keep him off the field.
And
That's
his
my biggest way.
6 all-pro receivers.
Yes.
But
So, what's your Sunday night football biggest key, Eli? Seahawks versus Steelers.
Seattle's in trouble. I'm just gonna be honest. Their division is not. It's not helping their situation. My fantasy quarterback Russell Wilson has hurt
burst the middle
himself.
finger.
He's hurt his finger, and he'll be out. And then everybody saw Geno Smith come in and play a pretty good game. But guess what? No one planned for Geno Smith to be in that game. Now the Steelers have had a week to do so. I feel like they just shut Seattle down. And this is just not good for Seattle at all. I don't see them winning this game. The Steelers haven't been great all year, but Seattle's in trouble. That's all I got to say. They're just in trouble.
All right, Blake, what's yours?
Biggest key, I'd say the Seahawks defense, and they just have to.
What defense? They have
Yeah,
none.
I mean they have the 32nd best defense.
They have none. It's
So-
awful.
32
worst.
out of how many teams?
32.
32.
It's awful.
I don't see that defense doing what they need to do. I just see the Steelers beating them. My Super Bowl pick, this is where it starts maybe. I see the Steelers winning this game pretty easily.
Clay?
my key for this game will be the Steelers. Just make Geno Smith's life a nightmare, and you'll win. Just get back there, cause pressure, and I don't think he showed a little promise there, but I think if like Eli said before, he game planning, I think they'll be able to shut him down. My key for Pittsburgh the rest of the season: establish a freaking run game because your quarterback cannot throw the ball. So, and their offensive line is what's the word I'm looking for?
Astronomically
Bad. Like they are.
Here's an even
they're
better
awful.
one. You call them obsolete. They're not even there
Yes.
practically.
So your quarterback can't throw, and you don't have a run game. I don't know where you're going to get any offensive production, but I think you have a better chance of running than Big Ben throwing. So for Pittsburgh the rest of the season, get a freaking run game, please.
So my biggest key is playing off of that. It's literally Big Ben just be better than Geno Smith. Literally, just be better than the backup quarterback. A quarterback
task.
who's never won a Super Bowl, or my bad, he might have won one with Seattle, who's never played in a Super Bowl. Just literally just go out there and whatever is asked of you, just go do it. And here's the other deal. If you're the coaching staff, don't make him throw the ball downfield. 5-yard routes should cap off where Big Ben throws the ball. Deep ball, I mean, he has no whip on the ball anymore whatsoever. And then, yes, ride the back of Najee Harris, make him your Le'Veon Bell from back in the day, and just run the ball. Run the freaking ball. That's my biggest take. Blake, what is your biggest key for Bills versus Titans Monday Night Football in Nashville?
My biggest key is the Bills' rushing defense. I mean, Titans' offense is going to run through Derrick Henry. We all know that. The whole NFL knows that. Just contain Derrick Henry, and that's easier to say than done. But just contain him, and I think you'll win this game. I mean, your passing defense is pretty good. Your offense is going to handle business. Just worry about Derrick Henry.
I'm going to kind of basically go off that. Mine would be to literally control time of possession like y'all said for the first game, but you have the ultimate time of possession weapon in your backfield. His name's Derrick Henry. Dude can literally carry the ball 40 times a game and be fine. He's really the only running back I think in the NFL that's capable of that. So if you can, you just your defense is not going to stop the Bills offense. It's just not going to happen. They're not good enough to do it. The Bills offense is too good. So this game is already tough enough to win, but if you can keep the Bills off the field, run your offense through Derrick Henry, keep the ball I'm talking like 6, 7, 8 minute drives. I'm not talking about no 3-minute drives and then get to midfield and punt. I'm talking about pound it down their throat, and then that's not sus. Let's talk about the run game. Y'all about to say something?
I wasn't going to.
But that'd be my biggest key. It's just establish the dominance of Derrick Henry. He should carry the ball at least 30 times this game, maybe 40.
Cool.
Yes, I'm a Titans fan, and this is why I like the Titans. They have a chance to win this game against a team like this. They always have a chance because of who they have in the backfield and how they play. And I model my Madden game after this, and sometimes it doesn't work. But there are the few times that it works, and tomorrow night or Monday night could be a time that it works for Tennessee in real life. Keep the ball. Just keep it. It doesn't matter how good Josh Allen is. It doesn't matter who's on that sideline. If they're not on the field, they can't score. So you've got the tools. You've got the guys to do this, and the way they play sets them up to always have a chance in these games. Now, if they get behind, very similar to my Madden game also. If they get behind, it is over. Okay, they just don't have they have a better shot, but anytime you get behind like that, it's very difficult to come back. You sort of get to, out of your game plan, start throwing it a little bit. But the way they play, it always gives them a chance to beat teams like this because they keep the ball. They like to, 3 or 4 yard plays and keep the ball away from the Bills. So that's how they've had success in the past, and I see them having a chance Monday night.
Yeah, I don't see them having a chance Monday night whatsoever. I think that, if you show up to play, that's good. I feel like you will not stop this. Your defense isn't good enough to stop the Bills' offense, personally. I feel like Derrick Henry, if you hold him to 100 yards, that's all the Bills really have to do. I feel like if you just shut down their run game, make them pass the ball, you're going to win the game because what's it going to do? It's going to stop the clock eventually. So I feel like if you're the Titans, you have to run the ball, but I really think this Bills team is going to suffocate you on Monday night. I just don't see – the Bills are one of the hottest teams in football right now other than the Arizona Cardinals, in my opinion. So I'm going to take the Bills there, and I'm going to take them pretty big, I think. That's my biggest key for that game. Really quickly, boys, what's your boldest take?
You talked about the hottest team in football right now, the Arizona Cardinals. I think they lose their first game this week to the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are too good to start out 3-3. The roster is too talented. It's not going to happen. They will win this game. The Arizona Cardinals will lose, and there will be no more remaining undefeated teams in the NFL.
Nice.
Talk about first. Lions are going to get the first win this week against the Bengals.
That is also bold.
It's going to look
Very
bad
bold.
for the
I'm here for
Packers
that.
if the Bengals lose to this game. But I think the Lions get their first win.
A game everybody's overlooking is the Chargers and Ravens. I don't know how that if we could change it around. I know they pre-schedule before the season, but that needs to be a primetime game. I like the Chargers to keep this up, and everyone's talking about how Lamar is, and he is obviously great, and coming off that high percentage completion game he just had. I think it was the highest ever when he throws that many passes. I think the Chargers sort of bring the Ravens back down to earth a little bit.
Well, the Colts couldn't do it.
Well, it was against the Colts, but
yeah, that's a good point.
Chargers are gonna. I think they'll get it done.
I'm going to take the rookie quarterback Justin Fields to beat the Packers. And this is not being a homer. I feel like that it's in Chicago, and you have a chance to make a statement. Now, will I say that it'll be, but I feel like the Bears will win this game. I don't know why. I really don't. I would have picked the Packers 9 times out of 10 before I sat down here. But I feel like Justin Fields is actually going to have a good game Saturday. My other game to watch is the Patriots are going to beat the Cowboys. I'm just going to put that out there right
That'll
now.
be a good game.
I thought about that.
I'm just going to put that out there. I feel like Mac Jones almost beat Tom Brady and them, who are the
that.
other
I like
cream of the
that pick.
crop. If you want me to have a non-homer style pick, even though I'm not trying to be a homer, I'm going to go Patriots will beat the Cowboys in Foxborough. Tom and them almost had a beat in that week. I feel like the Patriots can do it as well. Now, there is a little bit more added rivalry to that, but that's what I'm feeling over there. That's our NFL talk, and let's move over to this magic moment, a magical time on every Thursday episode of Follow Through. Blake, what is your this magic moment this week? I'm going to switch the order up a little bit.
This week, I think it was Monday, I was just on Spotify listening to some top country songs, and I just came across this guy named Larry Fleet. And I sent it to y'all too. I didn't send it to Dax. I meant to do it. But he has no correlation to Muscle Shoals.
Frick you, man.
And he mentions Muscle Shoals in his main chorus. And it's just really cool to hear your hometown in a country song. And especially Muscle Shoals because it has so much history. And it just doesn't get talked a lot in music. And it's huge musically. So I just thought that was really magical to me.
Facts, Blake. That was beautiful.
Clay, you got it.
My magic moment this week is the past few days kind of suck, not gonna lie. But I think the best thing that happened this week was definitely Friday night, having all the boys back home. I had guys y'all guys, and then I also had some of the other guys that we hung out with. I also had some of my old teammates. I had some other people I graduated with. It's just nice to see everybody again, catch up with everybody, and see how everybody's doing. So that was my magical moment of the week. And see our guys who are still in high school. So we got to see a little bit of everybody. But
Eli.
Dex, we went to the Auburn-Georgia game. That was not magical. Really,
not whatsoever.
My whole day was not magical there. But coming back, we stopped at Sticks and had dinner. That was just nice. It was nice to just have a good dinner and not worry about, Auburn's already beat. They're already beat. It's over. Just put it away. And I put it away, and I ate some good food, and it was really good. Dax, you can attest to that. Food was great, and another team was playing, and that was fun to watch. So,
okay,
not to be braggadocious.
No need to mention that.
Yeah.
I don't think I've missed on a restaurant suggestion yet.
It was great.
I'm not going to lie. But mine was actually that as well, too. It was
a nice pick-me-up.
It was just, we went, we had a long day.
Disaster.
I told him the last time I had fun on Saturday before dinner was lunch that day when we went and got a Chuck sandwich. And that's part of mine, too. But when we went to that after it, I looked at Sticks. I hadn't had it in probably 5 years. And I was like, you know what, Eli's either we're going to pick something up fast or we're going to go eat there. And we ended up deciding to go eat there. I really enjoyed my food. I thought it was really great. I love that. I don't know what, I always forget what it is. It's like Japanese, Chinese, that type of food genre is one of my favorites. So we ate there. It was nice. And honestly, the Alabama-Texas A&M game, yes, I'm an Auburn fan. It's cool that Alabama lost. But personally, it was just good to watch a college football game that, had action, and
yes, that was nice.
It was just a good back and forth football game, and so that's why I enjoyed watching it. And really, that Arkansas Ole Miss game, I didn't get to watch much of it, but I got to go back and watch the highlights. That one would have been one that I would have had on my TV the whole morning too. What's crazy is Texas Oklahoma
best game of the year so far.
I disagree. I think that Texas Oklahoma had it, and then Alabama A&M just said it because you had Bama coming back and fighting like dogs and playing perfect that whole second half -1 drive at the end. I thought it was
the worst game of the year, to be honest. I would never watch it again if I was just a casual fan.
Sloppy.
That's just me. Yeah, sloppy football. Nobody wants to watch that. For real.
Oh my gosh! But I thought that was what someone ranked that as like the 5th most interesting week in college football history.
Yeah, it was good from the beginning to the end. You had Penn State, Iowa in the middle.
Yep.
So
I thought it was an overall good week. Well, that leads us into the road to 70. We're trucking right along. We're in week 7. Correct me if I'm wrong. Week 7, right, Eli?
Yep.
Yeah. Week 7. So, Eli, go ahead and update us on the standings, and I'll read us off the games we're picking this week.
All right. Thanks to Oklahoma, I went 5 for 5 last week to come back and take the lead. So I'm at 19.
No, thanks to Penn State's backup quarterback.
Yes.
That's and the Hawkeyes, baby. Clay, Blake, and the Poles are tied at 18, so we're all right there together.
Golly.
No, we're not. We're not all right there.
The guests have 13 after Ellis goes 3-2, and Dax is behind the guest at 12. So
okay,
we're all right there.
Okay, but you just undershot me. I had a 4 for 5 week, and I'm a fluke Texas choke job away from going 5 for 5 last week.
So
I had my best picked week yet.
The Sooners. Are we picking the Sooners this week?
Heck no.
Dang it.
No. Not against TCU. Are you kidding me?
Probably the one they lose.
Yeah, probably. Watch it now. Just mark my words. But we are picking an Oklahoma team. First matchup, we're talking number 12 Oklahoma State, 5-0 versus number 25 Texas, 4-2. Clay Mack, what's your pick for this game? A little breakdown.
This is a huge game for Texas because you're under a new coach. You don't want to start out would they be 4-3 after this?
Yeah, 4-3.
I don't think Sark loses back-to-back weeks. I think they're more talented. They have arguably the best player in college football at tailback. So I'm going to go with Texas right here. It's at Texas. Give me the Longhorns. Hook them.
Yeah, I agree with Clay. Sark isn't going to lose 2 games straight.
Yeah, it'd be 2 games straight, third loss.
Yeah. This is a big game for them. Texas, if you're Texas, you cannot let your offense slow down again in the second half. You got to keep going in there, trying to score every drive.
Yeah. Don't get conservative.
Yeah.
That's what beat the Colts Monday night, by the way.
Yeah.
Little fun fact.
I also have Texas, the way that they've been playing, and they're at home. They played really a decent game against Oklahoma,
Played a great
especially
first half.
offensively.
First half was great.
If they can keep that up, they'll dominate Oklahoma State, I think. I don't really know a lot about Oklahoma State, but I feel like Texas has has the tools and can for sure beat Oklahoma State. So I'm going to go with Texas.
The way I look at it, Oklahoma State is always undefeated until they actually play the game that matters the most.
Yep.
Feels like for Oklahoma State, and I feel like this week it's that again. I mean, they have wins against Missouri State, Tulsa, Boise State, Kansas State, and Baylor, and I will argue Baylor is the lone good win on that schedule so far. So I'm going to take Texas here. I think that Texas is a really good football team. Like Blake said, if they didn't slow down last week, they win that game. Here in this game, though, Oklahoma State does have a good run defense for Big 12 standard. So I will say you need to air the ball out a little bit more, maybe not give Bijan
Something like
Bijan
that. Yeah.
20 touches this game as he had against Oklahoma. And, you know, I feel like if you can do that, establish a run game, maybe getting 4 or 5 yards carried, then pass the ball over the top of their heads, you'll do it. I feel like Texas will win this one comfortably. Next game we're talking is the CBS matchup. Number 11, Kentucky 6-0 versus number 1, Georgia 6-0, matching up in Athens, Georgia.
Dude, if I was picking off solely on who I want to win, I would just scream Kentucky at the top of my lungs. If I get this game wrong, I will be ecstatic. But I'm just not picking against the number 1 team in the country right now, especially at home. They're too good, man. They are really impressive. They've surprised a lot of people. And they might win out. They might go 11-1, but I don't think they're capable of beating this team. Give me Georgia probably by a lot. But I hope I'm wrong. Like I would be very happy if I was wrong, but I just don't see it.
Yeah. There's a part of me that wants to pick Kentucky, and I think that a lot of people overlook Kentucky, especially their defense. I think their defense is pretty good, but that's not going to matter because their offense is not that good, and they're going against the number 1 defense in the country. I see Georgia beating them. I think it's going to be a close game, but I do see Georgia winning this game.
I know what I said about Georgia, so I know maybe somebody expects me to pick Kentucky, but I don't think they have enough to get it done. If you're Kentucky, though, you got to be happy with what you saw last week, especially if you talk to an Auburn fan. Kentucky can win this game, but I don't think they will. I'm not going to pick against Georgia.
Yeah, well, let's give Kentucky – let's talk about their number 1 wins in the past. Their last one came in 2007 versus LSU. The one before that came in 1964 against Ole Miss. And the last one before that, the first one, came in 1951 in a Sugar Bowl victory over Oklahoma. That's 3 top number 1 teams that they've beaten in their history of a football program. And you know what? Besides the one that was in the Sugar Bowl, all those have came in Lexington. And that will not change on Saturday. Georgia will beat Kentucky. I want Kentucky to win, just like Clay said, and they do have a shot to win. I just don't think that they are that great of a team enough to be competitive with Georgia in the sense of beating them. I think they'll show up. I think they'll show out, but you're playing in Athens. That's one of the toughest places to play. Ask Arkansas. Just please, I beg you, don't lay down. Just don't lay down this game.
I just think back to when they played Georgia in that huge game with Benny Snell at home and they got destroyed.
Yeah.
And that's just all I think about.
Yeah. Well, let's go to another ranked matchup. Number 19, BYU versus Baylor, who is also 5-1. This is a matchup of the 5-1s. BYU coming off a loss 2 weeks ago?
No, it was last week.
Last week. Okay, so last week. Boys, how are you feeling about this game? Eli, what's your opinion of BYU versus Baylor?
Baylor just got beat by Oklahoma State, correct?
Two weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. That's the one.
I like BYU. I think that Arizona State loss is a good loss for them as far as
They lost to Boise State.
They beat Arizona State.
Arizona State?
Yeah.
Oh, then for sure I'm going BYU. I had them down anyway, but I thought they lost to Arizona State. They lost to Boise.
In a close one.
I got you. BYU, I think they're at home, so they may not be at home.
No, they're not at Baylor.
All right, they're at Baylor. I'm sorry, I don't have this one pulled up. They're at Baylor. I'm still going BYU on the road. They've got too much. They got too much power there. I'm going to go with them.
Give me Baylor in this one. If BYU was undefeated, I think maybe I would pick them. But BYU is a team. They don't play in a lot of hostile environments just because they're an independent. A lot of their big games always seem to be at home. They caught Arizona State at home. They caught Utah at home. So that just seems how it is. They're finally going on the road. I don't know if these guys are really going to know. They've never really played in this environment before. So give me Baylor. I think Baylor's good. They have the one loss, but they're 5-1. And I like a team coming off a win better than I like a team coming off a loss to a Boise State team that's not that good. So give me Baylor.
Yeah, I agree with Clay here. I think Baylor wins this game. Their one loss is not bad. I mean, lost to Oklahoma State.
At Oklahoma State.
Yeah, and they beat Iowa State by 2, but still,
I didn't even know that happened.
That was a ranked. That was a ranked.
That's how
matchup.
irrelevant Iowa State has become. I didn't even know that game happened.
And that's pain because last year they were good.
I picked against BYU whenever they played Arizona State. I don't have nothing against BYU. I just don't really believe in them that much because, I mean, they do have their big games at home, and they just win somehow. But I think Baylor will beat them this week.
I'm going to go Baylor here. I love their coaching matchup. I love Dave Aranda. He was the defensive coordinator for LSU in the national championship year that they won with Burrow and them. I feel like he's doing good with that program. I think that their one loss coming against Oklahoma State was just one where this team hasn't, I mean, they don't have a lot from what they had with that special season they had with Matt Rule. So I feel like with this team, you're just going to have to give them time for him to put his program in place. I feel that's with a lot of these young coaches that have taken over programs that they have to put that in there. So I feel like that with what Clay Mack said, where they don't play a lot of games in hostile environments. These Baylor fans are pretty hostile, and if you go into that stadium, I think it's McLean Stadium, right there on the water, one of the most beautiful stadiums in college football. I feel like Baylor's going to pull it out. Sick 'em Bears there. Number 13, Ole Miss versus Tennessee. 4-1 Ole Miss matches up against 4-2 Tennessee. This is actually one of the games I feel like is going to be a sneaky good game in that 6:30 window. Clay Mack, what's your opinion here?
This game is intriguing because Tennessee seems like they're getting better week in and week out, especially the offense. It's just a terrible matchup because Tennessee has a good offense, but it does not meet Ole Miss's offense, and their defense is not good enough to hold this Ole Miss offense to really anything. I feel like Ole Miss is probably going to score at will. Expect a high-scoring game, but Tennessee's offense has gotten better. It's good, but they're not at the point where they can hang with Ole Miss yet, so I'll take Ole Miss on the road in a high-scoring game.
Yeah, I'm going to go Ole Miss too. I think Kiffin's going to get his defense right after allowing close to 700 yards of offense.
We were playing college football?
Yeah, I think Ole Miss handles this game pretty well. I just don't really see Tennessee coming close up to this game.
Is this Kiffin's first time back in Knoxville as a head coach?
Yes.
Oh, he's going to get harassed.
Oh,
Holy
yes.
crap.
No doubt.
Tennessee this year got destroyed by Florida, and then their last two, they scored 62 and 45, which is very impressive for a Tennessee squad, which their offense has just been stagnant. If you put Tennessee in those black uniforms, I like those. If they had worn those maybe more, it might have even made my list. I thought those were really tough, but I just think Ole Miss is going to be too much offense for them. It's going to be hard for me ever to pick against Ole Miss. Their offense, for me, does it. I think they can always get it done, and Kiffin is obviously a great coach. And with that offense, it's just going to be hard to stop them. And so I'm going to go with Ole Miss. But Tennessee's selling out this week. That I saw where the stadium sold out. And
oh, yeah, it's going to be rocking, dude.
They're riding high right now. So this will be tougher than it probably would have been, a couple years ago.
You're right. I am loving this Tennessee team. They are riding super, super high. They beat Missouri. They beat South Carolina. And they're going to get killed this weekend against Ole Miss. I'm glad Tennessee is looking competitive. I'm glad they're scoring points, but you're beating arguably two of the worst teams in the SEC this season. I think there will be probably a total of 70 points scored in this game. I think that Ole Miss will score about 40, and I think Tennessee will score probably about 30. I do think they'll look competitive, but I don't think Lane Kiffin's offensive genius, and as much as I love Josh Heupel, I just don't think he's got the recruits in there right now to beat an Ole Miss Kiffin team. And let me just tell you right now, we talked about this hard after the Arkansas game. If you thought the way they trolled Arkansas was bad, just wait till what Ole Miss will do to Tennessee this weekend, especially Lane Kiffin being a former head coach there. They are the biggest trolls in all of college football, without a doubt.
Clay's favorite.
When you're making links
they
to
tried to try Alabama. It came back to bite them in the butt. So.
Yeah, when you're making a website that says didarkansasLose.com or posting their post-game celebrations.
That is funny.
I mean, look, let me just say, their social media team is killing it. Let's go ahead and talk about our last game. The Blake, Mac, the Slim Jim Cam Sweethearts, number 22 NC State 4-1 versus a Boston College team who's 4-1 with a narrow loss to Clemson last week. Clay Mac, what's your thoughts?
I'm at the point where narrow losses to Clemson are not impressive whatsoever, especially when you're matched up with the team that beat Clemson. Boston College is 4-1, but looking at their wins, they literally have played nobody.
Yeah.
They played Missouri.
Exactly, and went into overtime with Missouri at home, and Missouri is absolutely pathetic. I think NC State has a good quarterback. They have the win over Clemson. Give me NC State all day. I don't know how I know why they're 4-1 because their schedule sucks. But I'm at the point in the ACC, dude, I don't know who the heck is good anymore.
Wake Forest is
they're
everybody.
undefeated, and that team will not go undefeated. There's no way. They will lose.
There's a video out there of Wake Forest, or it's a guy posing as Wake Forest, and he's like, "Oh, y'all sit down," like to the rest of the ACC. Wake Forest is in the driver's seat.
So I'll give me NC State in an ugly game, but.
Is it the one where the dude starts making fun of the guy with the Clemson logo on? He's like, no, shut up. You have no saying here anymore.
Yes, sit down.
That video is so funny. Shut up, Clemson.
NC State, I don't see a reason picking against them here.
Here you go, Blake. Your boys.
Picked them against Clemson. They secured the dub in that. But Leary is a beast. I don't see NC State losing this game at all. I mean, it's at Boston College, but it's not going to matter. NC State's going to win.
Not so fast. Have any of you ever been to a college football game in Boston College?
No.
Me either, but I feel like it's going to be bumping this weekend. Boston College, narrow loss to Clemson. I don't think Clemson's great, but I know they've got talent, and Boston College hung in there with them. It's at home. That's really my only differential. When I saw this game, I looked and I said, whoever's at home is going to win this game. Boston College hasn't played in a meaningful football game in who knows when. So now's their chance. They have
this is not meaningful, really.
Dude, they played number 25.
They're 4-1
Clemson.
and playing a top
a team that could get them in the ranks.
Top 25 team. And I'm gonna take Boston College here. I don't know why. Other than them being at home, I'm here for it. Let's go.
So when we talked about Boston College's schedule not being anything, I then went to NC State's schedule, where they've beat South Florida, a team that put up 0 points. They lost to Mississippi State, who I would argue is right there with South Carolina and Missouri.
Mississippi State would beat Missouri by 30 points.
Mississippi State
they beat
A&M.
Furman. I thought Furman just had a basketball team that would show up in the NCAA tournament occasionally. And then they beat Clemson.
Who was number
where they had to
2
take, okay.
Come on.
An adjusted. Now, they weren't number 2 at the time. They
I
lost
just
to
realized,
Georgia.
yeah.
And then they beat La Tech by 7 points. Once again, the only thing I knew La Tech for is their golf team because Hunter Battles plays there. Shout out to Hunter Battles. You get the upset, and sometimes you are upset. Give me Boston College here. Doug Flutie better be on the sideline, absolutely raising pandemonium for the Eagles. They were so hyped. What was their loss? I think they lost by 6 points to Clemson.
Yeah.
NC State beat Clemson.
And my confidence in Boston College has dropped. No offense, Dax.
Okay, well, I feel very comfortable here with Boston College. I don't think it'll be by much, but here's the deal: if you're NC State, you got your upset. I think it's time to be upset. Go ahead and give me Boston College to bounce back and just be. Let's call Boston College the bounce house this weekend. That's what they're going to be.
The bounce house.
That's UCF, ain't it?
Yeah, it is. That's why I said let's call them the bounce house.
They have some fire uniforms. These red bandanas.
Yes, the
bandanas
paisley
are
ones.
sweet.
They're.
I wish they'd wear those.
Yeah. Who was the other member? Hey, put Matt Ryan on the sideline too.
Oh, God.
Come back, bring back the Boston
They're on
College
bye,
legend.
of course.
Dude,
Matt
Ryan will be there. He's going to be there celebrating his dadgum Boston College. And I'll tell you one who won't be there. Ryan Tannehill won't be there.
That's true.
He played at NC State, correct?
Kobe Brisket will be there.
Kobe.
Russell Wilson needs to be.
Yeah, I mean, what's he
It's
doing?
enough out of you.
What's he doing this weekend? Rehabbing that bursted middle finger.
All right.
Real.
I don't know. Boys, any parting thoughts on this episode of Fall
I
Through?
got my biology test results back, but you remember a long time ago before Blake was around, I opened my math test up and I
we celebrated?
Yeah. Well, I'm not near as confident in this biology test. So
Come on.
That will not happen right
here. Come on, do it. Do it for the
No,
fans.
not
do it
doing
for the
it.
fans.
I'm not
you don't,
doing it.
If it's bad, you don't have to share.
Oh god.
Oh gosh.
Oh crap, man.
So what should we talk about?
Blake, any parting thoughts for your statements?
Go listen to Stack of Records.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm happy with it. I'm not
Okay.
gonna say it. It's not enough to brag about. But I didn't fail, and I didn't make a D.
You know what, college students? C's get degrees.
And that's what I made. So just there
You're
you go.
about to pass
You know what?
cell
I just told
biology, so let's go.
Eli, any parting thoughts?
I hope everyone has a great Thursday.
All right.
Thank
Let's
you.
be positive out here.
All right. Well, I would say sit down and watch a lot of college football, but there's not much to watch. So pick your favorite team and watch them this weekend. If you have a quick second, please pray for Mississippi State for what Alabama is going to
Don't
do to
say
them
that.
on Saturday.
Yeah, don't say that.
swear.
Please don't.
It's going to be ugly. Pray for me
If
as
you
I
have
get.
any money, put it on the money line.
If you
Any.
pound the over, if you have thoughts, pray for me and Eli this weekend. It's gonna be bad. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at Fall Through Show, Twitter at FT Through Show, Facebook at Fall Through, which is for what?
Your parents.
Parents.
Your parents. And until next time.
Peace out.